Last year, I was on a committee for our leadership team here at Pacific Sotheby's to help really define in writing the culture, our mission, our vision, and our values with the company. You know, we had our 6th anniversary in April, and we are #1 for closed sales volume. And I look at the numbers a lot because I also got certified as a business coach over 10 years ago. And what that taught me was the numbers don't lie. Sometimes they're harsh, but they're always accurate. And so you can always find out what's working and what's not if you just simply look at the numbers. And what the numbers show me is that we are #1 in the luxury space. We play really well in all price points because we're #1 in markets that we don't even have offices in. So what that tells me, in fact, I just pulled the numbers for Carlsbad specifically, and we're 10% of the market up here. And there are a couple of companies that have sold more units than us. So again, what that shows me is our sales price is higher. So that tells me that typically people who own homes at a higher sales price are a little more savvy in business and making decisions and things like that. And so those smart, savvy sellers and buyers are choosing to work with you. I know you're hearing the terrible radio ads on the way here about what useless, worthless profession the real estate agents are, and it doesn't reflect in what's actually going on in sales, in real estate sales here. So let's talk about the value proposition of Pacific Sotheby's. So Steve Games's favorite book is Oh, the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss, and so that gave us a lot of our inspiration, along with interviewing him and Nida and Brian Arrington a little bit to just kind of get a history of the company. We here believe 120,000% that we offer agents the most opportunities to succeed and celebrate. Our culture radiates rich with successful collaboration. Write that word down. Remember collaboration, because that's going to come up a little bit later. Our agents are our everything. Not our listings, not our sales. Our agents are our biggest assets. And that's why every time I walk through the office, I ask my agents, what do you need? How can I help you? Are you on track for your goals? Is there anything I can do to help you get to your goals? You need to make some calls? What can we do? And that's what we're here for, because without you, we have none of this. I hope that this inspires you to create your own mission and vision and values for your business, because while your license hangs here under the Sotheby's brokerage umbrella, you are an independent contractor, you're an entrepreneur, you are running your own business. And on those days that we get stuck in a corner and maybe have some questions and maybe ethics are coming into play, or we're deciding whether or not we want to get up out of bed and go door knocking, check in with your mission and your vision and your values. That will always give you that motivation and inspiration you need to get going, to do a little bit more, to go a little bit further, to knock on one more door, and don't stop until you get another yes. So our core values are home ownership, 100% the American dream, home ownership, and that plays a critical part in our code of ethics. We're going to talk about that. The legacy of our brand. When we were at G&E last year, the global networking event in Las Vegas, we got to sit through Ritz-Carlton leadership training, and tears. I mean, it was so beautifully executed, the trainer that was on stage, and we really connected with him and what he said. Their motto, their mission, how they approach their day-to-day business is, we are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Dawn said, oh my gosh, that's how we have to live our life every day. We have to live our life like that every day. So everyone write that down. We are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. And if you approach your clients and the co-op agents in your business like that, what will your life, what will your business look like? It'll be really good. It'll be heightened. Collaboration, like I said before, we're going to really dive into that in a little bit, but I'm sure you have seen multiple agents throughout the company who are not an official team working together on listings. Del Mar, I see it. La Jolla, I see it. Downtown, I see it. Up here, I see it, especially with our oceanfront properties. So we'll talk about that specifically why. Extraordinary service. This is a world-class, #1 rated company. It's the most trusted luxury brand according to J.D. Power and Associates. Service, 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 that white glove treatment, that's the difference between luxury and everything else. And it's not about the price point, it's about the experience. So whether it's a $300,000 condo or a $30 million mansion out in Rancho Santa Fe or out in Del Mar on the beach, it's all about that luxury experience and providing white glove service. And then of course the luxury experience, which is again how we treat each other. So service and experience, that's truly what defines luxury. To continue the legacy of representing our clients' most cherished possessions with local understanding and partnerships across the nation and around the world. And so we really do collaborate and do business together here in San Diego County, Orange County, the desert, all over California, the country. I'm sure you see on Instagram other agents being really excited to go and take their picture next to a sign at another Sotheby's office. I have. I mean, I've seen a bunch of you doing that as well, and across the world also. I mean, we're in over 70 countries. We are going to jump into the preamble of the Code of Ethics. The preamble of the Code of Ethics really sets the tone for our business. And you heard me say earlier that selling real estate is a spiritual experience. And I 100% believe that, and that might sound really weird or airy-fairy woo-woo, especially because I also just got done telling you I'm a business coach and it's all about the numbers. That is also true. And if you think about how much time you spend working in your day and in your week, it's the way that you've chosen to affect the whole world around you, your community, not just your family, but everything you touch. It's like the butterfly effect can affect everything else for a long line. The way that we treat people on the phone, in an email, on a transaction. I have been coached to treat people and leave anyone and everything, including the room where we hang out and teach classes, better than I found it. And I really want to challenge you to do the same. Leave people and things and your space better than you found it. And if we can do that and it becomes a spiritual experience and not just about the commission, your business plan and those results and the numbers will absolutely increase without you having to babysit it with a microscope all of the time. If you just detach yourself from the dollars and get in there and do the best job you can every step of the way, all of that will come. You'll have a flourishing business. My stepdad was one of my stepdads was a Navy SEAL for 20 years, and he was an incredible man who had a huge influence on me as a teenager. And before he passed a couple of years ago, I got the opportunity to interview him as an adult. And he said as Navy SEALs, they work as teams, 100%. In fact, when they're going through BUDS and trying to become a SEAL, what they're looking for, what their instructors are looking for are team players and not the person that needs to be the standout #1 all the time. It's all about working together as a team. And if they've got 5 guys on a mission, they don't ever worry about just completing the whole mission. Each guy, and I do say guys because there's not any girls as Navy SEALs yet, what they are concerning themselves with is executing their job, their portion of the job perfectly. And if they do their job perfectly, they know their teammate's gonna do their job perfectly, and the next guy, and the next guy, and the next guy. And if everyone executes perfectly, the mission will be completed and they don't have to worry about the end result. Does that make sense? Let's jump into the preamble. I did highlight the first paragraph that we're gonna read here, so stay with me on this. Under all is the land. Under all is the land. I mean, we are a little blue dot in the universe. I mean, we are seriously just sitting here on a big rock hurling through infinite space. Infinite space. And under all is the land. It's a miracle that life can even exist on this planet. Isn't that the most amazing, cool thing? I like to go outside and look at the stars at night before I go to bed and just remind myself of how small I am and how small any of my perceived issues or challenges are, that none of it really freaking matters. So go big or go home. What? We have nothing to lose. We have nothing to lose. Under all is the land. We're not making any more. Okay, maybe a little lava flow in Hawaii. The islands might be getting bigger, but there's, right? But under all is the land. There isn't anything else. Upon its wise utilization and widely allocated ownership depend the survival and growth of free institutions and of our civilization. Take that in. Our freedom depends on us. Have you ever thought about that? I mean, if you're in my office, I drill this home quite a bit, so you've probably heard this before many, many, many times, and you're going to keep hearing it. But our freedom depends on us as agents using land to its highest and best use. So realtors should recognize the interests of the nation, our country, and its citizens require the highest and best use of the land and the widest distribution of land ownership. It makes me emotional because in other countries, you might not get to own land. If you're a woman, you might not get to own land or have certain privileges. But in America, you can own your land and you can own your home and you're the king of your castle. You can do whatever you want, as long as the HOA says it's okay, right? They require the creation of adequate housing, the building of functioning cities, the development of productive industries and farms, and the preservation of a healthful environment. I just feel like we should all read that paragraph before we open any escrow, before we get any clients into the car, before we go on to a listing appointment, and our energy, our aura, and our motivation would change. And again, it would come from that core spiritual place where you will absolutely do the best and most right thing for your clients every single time and your cooperating brokers. And I hope everyone else on the other side treats you the same. And if they don't, call me. We'll fix it. Such interests impose obligations beyond those of ordinary commerce. They impose grave social responsibility and a patriotic duty to which realtors should dedicate themselves and for which they should be diligent in preparing themselves. And so I know you've noticed that most of our, in fact, here at Sotheby's, all of our meetings start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And anytime I sit on the board for NSDCAR, every time we start a board meeting, we start with the Pledge of Allegiance. In most of our classes that we have around town, the association, we start with the Pledge of Allegiance because it's our responsibility as Americans and as realtors to protect our country and our freedoms. You're part of the army. You're part of it. This army of agents that believe in freedom and want to protect it. Realtors, therefore, are zealous to maintain and improve the standards of their calling and share with their fellow realtors a common responsibility for its integrity and honor. Isn't that beautiful? When was the last time you really checked in with that? You probably very recently, right? Because you're the newest. And so it's really fresh, but I think, oh man.
It was also beautiful how you read it.
Oh, thank you. You have to really take each word to heart. And I was an English major in college, so some of that comes there. But you know, I see stuff like this and go, oh my gosh, I gotta renew my Code of Ethics training every 2 years, and it's so boring, and it's gonna take time, and I don't have time for the meetings. And yet, there's nothing more important. There really isn't. There's nothing more important than protecting our profession and our clients. All right, I'm gonna skip that third paragraph, although it is still really important. Realizing that cooperation with other real estate professionals promotes the best interests of those who utilize their services, realtors urge exclusive representation of clients. They do not attempt to gain any unfair advantage over their competitors, and they refrain from making unsolicited comments about other practitioners. Little teeth in it here. In instances where their opinion is sought or where realtors believe that comment is necessary, their opinion is offered in an objective, professional manner, uninfluenced by any personal motivation, commission, or potential advantage or gain. And that's why we're going to dive into the Code of Ethics, because it's that paragraph right there where sometimes our own personal motivations, like, paying the mortgage that month, gets really important, and sometimes can put us in a gray area or in a place that might cause us to question or otherwise make a bad choice.